Live
We
chat.
are live.
Broadcasting live. Except I don't see us on YouTube yet. I'm still like frantically trying. Oh,
Hi.
okay. Got it. Muted.
We're
Hello,
live.
everyone. I
Hi,
don't
everybody.
know.
Sorry. I'm playing around. There we go. All right. Hi, everybody.
So,
Oh, gosh.
welcome to what we like to call Frazzled February, because we are here and we are frazzled. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a good way.
It's a good
This
thing.
is just very fitting. February, have you guys felt like February has been a mess? Like, for me, it's been a mess.
Yeah. Just with everything, reading, everything. It's just been craziness.
And for it to be such a short month, it feels like it's February ever going to be over?
Like, but in some ways, I'm like, wait, what? It's the 27th? What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
somehow I missed a lot of things. I don't know. I'm just so frazzled. But you guys, Elizabeth, hello. Lizzie Faye.
Hello, everybody
loves
who's here.
books.
Yes, thank you.
She is here, and she is just amazing because she read this book. And Elizabeth, I'm sorry, because now, especially now that I've read it, like, you really push yourself on this one, and so thank you for doing it to be a part of this show.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody who read
a
along.
plug for Lizzie, because next month is March Mystery Madness, and that's her baby, isn't it? It's her baby.
Yes, it
Her
is.
baby.
Yes, it is.
Yep. How
Yay.
many other hosts are there right now to March Mystery Madness?
It's like, what, 15 of us, I think?
Is there?
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite booktubers is this guy Troy, and it's like the only time he comes out of his booktube hole.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, you read mysteries all year, but that's the only time he like makes videos.
Yeah.
15 hosts. That's awesome.
Yep. Go big or go home.
That's right.
Mhm.
Well, okay. Show of hands. Who read this book?
You guys are better people than me.
Did you finish it, Bree?
No.
So,
I
yeah.
read it, but I just didn't finish it.
Well, I mean, I read it, but I didn't finish it. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
So, yeah.
Talk to us.
Well, okay. So we all, the three of us, and I don't know if this is the February curse thing, but we all kind of left it for this last week, which I think we all do intentionally. So
because
fresh in our minds.
Talk about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I have been a lot slower lately and just really having like focusing issues. So I left it a little too last minute, but that's okay. Got it done. And y'all just kind of decided wrong time, right book, wrong time, or something like that. Like, you guys kind of I gave it 3.5, and you guys in the chat, I would love to know what you guys gave it.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
It was Sarah.
Yeah, I read a book for another book club to like be part of their live or whatever, and I read it like a month in advance. So like, and we all typically do this. We wait till like the week of, but I was like, maybe I should be more prepared and start early. So I did that, and then I did the live, and I was like, I don't remember like a lot of the details. So I was like, cool. With ours, I'm just gonna wait till the last minute. But then the way that February has been set up, like, it's been a good reading month, but then I started this book at the time where I was like, okay, I can chill. Like, I don't need to read anything else this month. Like, start fresh in March. And I think it's just like, now I just like wasn't in the mood for it. And then I started the book and it was sad. And I was like, I definitely am not in the mood for this.
Yeah. Okay. So, Aspired to Read, remind me what your first name is.
This
is interesting. I gave it 5 stars because it was my first Brittainy Cherry. So I am a lover of Brittainy Cherry, and I gave it a 3.5. And we can talk about it now, or we can talk about it later, but I think things are kind of changing in the world of Brittainy Cherry. So, if you like this one a lot, some of her older stuff may not be as much for you. it's the same tone for sure, but there are definitely things changing. And if you guys saw our live show with her, she is just recently started being published by Montlake or Amazon Publishing. And so I think that changes the rules for her just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can notice those changes.
Interesting.
And as someone who, this was the first book of hers that I picked up, and I said this to you guys earlier today, I don't think I'll pick up another because I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it just shy of 50%. I just couldn't. I just really didn't care.
Kim gave it 4 stars. So that's good. I mean, we have some good ratings.
Hey, I'm glad a lot of you guys enjoyed it. I really am.
And you know what? That's interesting that you brought that up, Chloe, because I was chatting with another friend that loves her, and she said she prefers the older stuff to the newer stuff. So it's really interesting that you can tell the difference.
Well, so Harissa, sorry, I it's the Frazzled February. I knew that was your name, and so I'm sorry I forgot that. But so the changes that I am seeing are, one, at least in my recollection, the sex scenes are getting more explicit. They are definitely like just a little bit a different level, which there wasn't a lot one, but what was there was pretty graphic, I would say. And then this one is unlike others in that it is very short, very, very short. And so
usually when I see y'all like hold the book in your videos, they look like they're like 500 pages.
Well, I think they're normally like between 300 and 400, somewhere in there, but this one was very short. And almost just felt like she was like, I have to get all these things accomplished in these pages. Like, I got to go, I got to do this. And so there were a lot of things that were left underexplained and like relationships that were underdeveloped, in my opinion. So can I just tell you guys what this book's about?
Yeah. This is the spoiler zone.
Yeah. So spoilers for everybody who did not read it. So this book is about Jax and Kennedy. And so they were friends when they were like 10, 11, 12 at summer camp. So they only spent their summers together, but they were best friends. They both had some different home situations going on, but Kennedy was this like quirky character that cracked me up. Like, I love Kennedy, and she didn't care at all. She was different, and she was different. I laughed out loud, Roseanne, the show, when she was barking at people. That, like, it made me laugh out loud. Rose and Darlene in trouble for barking at people, but so whatever. So they were friends. Well, now it's years, 10, 15, some odd years later, and she is getting divorced because she has suffered a tragedy, and her husband is very verbally abusive, treats her like, and then he finally says, like, I'm done, you need to go. And so she goes to her sister, who she's somewhat random, and I'm like, I wanted more of that. Like, what was going on in their relationship? Do you guys know? Like,
I felt like we should have known the sister from a previous book, and that's legit what I thought. I thought that we'd met the sister in a previous book, and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, it felt like we should know why this relationship between sisters is somewhat damaged, and we don't. And like, the vibe that I got was just that it was Kennedy like withdrawing into her hole because of the tragedy she has suffered, and her husband was kind of manipulative and stuff. So I think it was just her withdrawing into her hole. But anyway, so she goes to this small town. Her sister helps her out and gives her this place to live because she flips houses with her husband, and she runs into Jax. So she runs into this grouchy guy named Jax, and it's like days later when the light bulb comes on of who each other is.
When they saw the car tripped them out.
Yeah, the car.
I think that's where
not her mannerisms. Yeah, like, so I could see like, if you were like 5, like if this was your kindergarten best friend, and then you're 30, maybe I could see that being a little bit of a struggle.
Maybe.
But they were like 10, 11, 12.
And it was 10 years ago.
Like, so for me, that really gave me a hard time with buy-in because I'm like, this is not this super deep connection if you can't even recognize their face. Like,
right?
And it doesn't mention any like huge physical changes. Nobody's super scarred. Nobody has gained or lost a ton of weight. Nobody has like undergone some drastic physical change. And so, what? Like,
Yeah, that was my biggest gripe in the book, and I complained about that to last night to you guys. I couldn't handle that.
And I feel like, so what Brittainy C. Cherry is known for is having like deep connections between people and then just making that love for each other and that shared vulnerability with each other be very impactful, very, there's everything and they are vulnerable with each other and that kind of stuff. And so this one, I was like, but really? Yeah. Like, so in a year or 10 years, if something happened right now and you guys separated 10 years from now, will you remember it? You know, like, what? I don't understand. And so that part, like, I feel like Brittainy C. Cherry is known for that kind of formula of here's these people when they're young, they mean a lot to each other. Tragedy strikes both of them because his parents die, her daughter and parents die. And so now they're very broken people coming back to kind of save each other.
Yeah.
But so I feel like she's known for like that sort of formula of, you know, whatever. And so I feel like now potentially that she's like published by somebody else, it's like, okay, here's what you're known for. Here's what you got to do. You got to create that emotional punch. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it just felt a little inauthentic to me.
Yeah. It seems like as somebody that like sees you and other friends who like read her books and stuff, her books do seem a little bit lengthy, which is fine. It seems like she needs to learn the craft of writing shorter books. Because I mean, you can pick up like a category romance and get everything you need in 250 pages. It seems like she's used to having that 400-page wiggle room and like not knowing what to do with less than 300 pages.
That's a good point, Brie, because there were parts of it, like we were saying, that we felt that parts were missing. So like, what if she came into the publisher with this 500-page book? Publisher's like, you got to cut it down. And she just started slicing parts out. That's kind of what it felt like. We were missing parts of the story.
Yeah.
Well, and like, I feel
we
like
were missing the explanation.
Her books, one of the reasons that I love them is because they toe the line for me between women's fiction and romance. There's almost always like a strong female, or not necessarily like strong as in powerfully written female that leads the story. And so with that comes a lot of backstory. I mean, you get a lot of this female with people other than the hero. And this one, we didn't get that, you know, so we didn't get enough of her independently outside of this relationship. And I feel like that was definitely something that was missing. Someone said, I love how she evokes emotions, but why is she only writing second chance romance anymore? And she definitely does. 5 of the last 6 were second chance. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm going to switch it up.
Yeah, I mean, when I started this, I got excited because I liked the idea of them being childhood friends. Yeah. Like you read it, Chloe, and you hated it. But my favorite book is Summer at Willow Lake. That is the exact plot line. They knew each other at summer camp. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then I went, and I'm like, no. Yeah.
So I'm interested in you guys as well as everybody in the chat. What did you think of our heroine? What did you think of her?
Honestly, I felt I knew her better as a child than I did as an adult. You know, she had such personality as a child. And I mean, I guess a lot of it to do with the relationship by her husband. I totally understand that and I empathize. But I still feel like she was more as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I feel for her and stuff, but I don't know.
I think her husband was a douchebag. Like, there's no nothing that. But also, I was like, girl, you're exhausting me and I'm just reading it. Like,
right?
get some help. Like,
Please.
I don't know.
When you have a mental breakdown seeing another child, there's clearly an issue.
You need some help.
So that was my, like, because Sarah said, I think it was you, Sarah, that said last night, like, you didn't like her because she was just such a pushover. And did you say that? I might have just made that up. But I probably put words in your mouth. But no. My point with her is, like, I could empathize in the sense of, like, I was trying to put myself in her shoes of, she was responsible for the death of her daughter and her parents, which, side note, like, did it have to be all three of them?
Right.
Like, I feel like just the daughter would be sufficient to F you
my
up.
God.
I mean, at what point is this pain porn?
Right. Well, and I think the point was to just say how she was left with nobody and, like, how then he was her only influence.
Yeah.
But what about her sister?
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, but back to my original point is, like, I could empathize with it or sympathize, because I have not been through this, thank God. But if I were to be responsible for the death of my parents and my child, and then my husband were to prey on me in the way that he did and exploit that and say, like, we never should have had this baby, and, like, all of the things that he said to her, I could see how personality would be gone, self-worth would be gone. You would let people walk all over you because you don't have any respect for yourself. I can see that, and I do fault her for that. What I do fault her for is, like, you literally cannot be in public with children without having a panic attack.
Right.
Girlfriend, self-care, get yourself some help. And, like, it's not like something small happened. She was responsible for the death of her child and her parents. Like, the cops should, like, somebody should make
I was going to say,
therapy.
like, shouldn't somebody, like, she was saying at that beginning scene when she's at her husband's work party and there was the other woman comes to the bathroom. She's like, and I remember in the book it said something about, they've all been so nice to me. Well, have any of them stepped up and said, girl, have you thought about speaking to somebody?
Yeah.
The most perfectly sane, well-adjusted, with it together person would need therapy after that. Like,
I think that a lot of the events in this book happened because they needed to happen.
Right.
And I think that was my biggest issue and why I finally put it down. Like, it was convenience.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
Again, like, with 100 more pages, maybe there was a reason she didn't go to therapy. She does say that the husband was not supportive of it and that he was not talking kindly about therapy. Like, so that, I mean, but, like, again, if we knew, why does she not have friends? Does she have coworkers? Does she not have
exactly?
Like, would nobody be like
her publisher?
Well, yeah,
like, you know, like, girl, you haven't read anything or written anything in a year. Are you cool? Are you good? What can we do?
Are you okay? Like, is nobody checking in on this chick?
Because was the husband, like, isolating her, like, telling her you can't socialize? Like, if that was the case, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Like, he's verbally abusive and he's, like, isolating you away from everyone you love. We didn't really get that, so I don't really know.
And again, that was the thing, is that there was so much in this book that I think, if, again, as you said, Chloe, if this book could have been another 100+ pages, I think it would have been so much better, because more would have been.
I mean, like, I don't fall at all. Like, I love her, and this book did not make me not love her, but I could see why you DNF'd it, and I can see why. Like, it's just like my investment is gone when these big gaps are missing, and when something so basic to the premise of they don't recognize each other. Like, I can see why the investment would be, what's the point in reading this?
Yeah.
Somebody said, let's see, Kim said, during your interview with her, I thought she was writing very fast, which makes me wonder if it's too fast. And I think, and again, I'm blaming the publisher, but it could be completely misguided blame or faults or change or whatever. But, like, I feel like maybe she was on a deadline, or is something, I don't know, because I feel like the bones of this story are great. If she would have developed more of the sister relationship, like if she would have explained these things, or like if one of them would have had some sort of and maybe she did. She was in a bad car wreck. Maybe she did have some sort of different, like, physical change. Maybe we're not told about any. So
I felt we knew more about the neighbor Joy than some of the stuff about the main character,
which I loved.
That was my favorite. I wanted to keep reading just for her.
And I loved Connor, and Connor is who is Eastern Lights, which is the next book in this series.
Was he the helper or whatever?
Yes. Yeah. He's Jax's partner, and he's like 17. He turns 18 in this book, and he is like Mr. Entrepreneur, starting all these businesses. He was adorable, and I can't wait to read his book, but I'm really nervous, especially I did not like The Wreckage of Us very much. And that was another Montlake book, or I think Montlake or Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas
but I did look
are great.
Are better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I looked, and Eastern Lights, because I was wondering if they're all shorter, and Eastern Lights comes in at over 400 pages according to Kindle. So maybe she had more time.
Yeah.
Connor's story is another second chance, is what someone in the comments said.
I just think, and y'all, like, Chloe, if it's wrong, then let me know, because you finished it. But like, I feel like it was kind of a missed opportunity, because if you experience something like that, you're writing that into the story. This is an opportunity for you to kind of like put out there, hey, it's okay to go get help. Like, sure, love is its own therapy. Like, finding happiness is its own therapy, but like, get yourself together, and then, I think you'll be able to appreciate that a little bit more. But
Absolutely.
like the white knight sweeping in, and like, you lost a kid, you lost your parents, like
the whole world is gone.
Yeah, you could have used that as an opportunity to like showcase the impactfulness of therapy. And on top of that, your marriage sucked.
Yeah.
You have verbally abused,
Well, and to be in Brittainy C. Cherry's defense, she talks a lot about Jax going to therapy, and Jax is still close with his therapist, and that Jax, he's still very close to his therapist, and he's somewhere in like 2/3 or 3/4 of the book. He goes to his therapist, and he's like, help her, please help her. And so he's like, I know, as this, you don't have to help, like, reach out as a professional, but as this small town community, this is a woman who needs help and won't go get it. Help her, like, be her friend at least. And so, like, I feel like there was just something missing of like, why, Harissa said they did bring up therapy, but it seemed like an afterthought for Kennedy. Like, why is there a reason she didn't go to therapy or seek some sort of help or have some sort of coping mechanism? Because she clearly could not go to situations where children would be present without having a panic attack. And she could not drive. She couldn't drive. She never drove again. Like, that's a significant impact on your life. Like, do something, girl. Like, and again, I understand having low self-esteem and low self-respect and low self-worth and letting people shit on you. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here, but like, I don't understand not seeking some help when your world is so strange.
Yeah.
I don't, and like, so the ex-girlfriend, I don't know. Sorry, Amanda, I'm on a huge soapbox here, but the ex-girlfriend, Jax's ex-girlfriend, she's a nurse, and she's taking care of his dying dad. Did you guys get any of that? There's one point where she is straight up cruel to Kennedy, and it's like, okay, again, too much. Like, not everybody has to shit on this girl. And like, this woman is a nurse that is like reading to this dying evil man. Like his dad was shit too. So I'm like super well about this, but like, so you would think she's a pretty soft-hearted person, and yet she just harasses Kennedy, and it's like, come on, somebody be nice to this poor girl.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it was too, is it was just too much. You know, we didn't need tragedy for both, unless that's her MO. That's what Brittainy said. I don't know. This is the first I've read by her. But like, did they both have to have these horrible backstories? Could it have just, I think hers was enough. You know?
I think having them both be broken is kind of an MO, you know, like kind of having them both have, where then they come to each other and kind of can heal those broken pieces, or can be support in the growth. I think that like that didn't bother me, but also like, so Sarah, I think I told you that we were wrong, because Sarah and I assumed was abusive, physically, all the things, abusive his whole, and his mom would try to protect him, and so we know throughout the book that Jax has a lot of guilt about his mother dying, and he thinks he's responsible for her death. And Sarah and I assumed that she got in the way of the father trying to hurt Jax.
Yeah.
That is not what happened. Jax was out hunting, trying to like, because he had a brother who was not the dad's biological son, but he was the mom's or whatever. And the brother was very like manly. They got along good, whatever. Jax was not into the manly stuff, but he went out hunting. His brother like peer pressured him to shoot a gun and stuff. And he thought he shot his mother, and because she was shot and killed. However, in the very end, we find out it was the brother that shot and killed her. And like that part was like, what? That part kind of had me like, wait, okay. I mean, so then he's absolved of guilt or whatever. And like the shithead dad still left everything to her and nothing to Jax and whatever. But I don't know.
I mean,
that's a little odd.
I don't know. Like, okay, so we've been talking about timing. Like, is this a time for stories like this? I
mean, that's a steam pure to Bambi right there at the end, isn't
it? After surviving 2020 and then what 2021 has been, I'm just like, there's a time and place for everything, but like, is this the time for tragic upon tragic stories like this?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, maybe they could both have had issues.
Right.
But maybe they don't have to be to that extent. Like you said, Chloe, wouldn't it have just been enough if her daughter died? You know, like in Jax's case, could it have just been enough that his dad was abusive? Right? Like, did you have to add? And on top of that, you know, it just seemed a bit too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say all of her books sound like pain porn, but like everybody talks about how good and emotional they are.
And that's just not, and I think that's why I haven't picked them up. I know how much you love them, Chloe, but that's not my jam. I don't.
And to each their own, for sure. And like in other ones, so like Behind the Bars, there is death of a family member and bullying. Those, but and like that's the kind of thing that one's got bullying, one's got death of I mean, I'm not talking specifically about any book, but like things that are more realistic, I guess. Like, not that this one couldn't happen and that it isn't realistic, but this one did just feel like tragedy on top of tragedy on top of tragedy on top of tragedy, to the point that it was like,
it's not realistic. Like, I'm sure these things have happened, but for two people to have that kind of bad luck, and I'm just going to say bad luck, and I'm not going to meet each other, That's just asking for trouble. I would have just been, what happened to you? No, I'm sorry. We're just, that's it.
I got my mess. You got your mess.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so I'm 31 years old. If I were to find myself with my family dead, my husband abusing the heck out of me, and feeling like I had nobody, because clearly I don't have friends or coworkers or any of that kind of thing, then I feel like in my head, I would revert back to, when was the last time I felt safe with somebody?
Yeah.
When was the last time I felt connected to somebody? And so if their connection at 12 years old was that strong, like, I feel like that it wouldn't have been just like, I don't even recognize you.
Yeah.
Which just bothers the hell out of me.
I mean, and some of my favorite books have been grief stories. Like, Debbie Macomber has a couple of grief stories. Like Cottage by the Sea. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Joanne Ross has a grief story. I mean, some of my favorites are grief books. But it's like, this one thing happens and you really understand why this character is grieving. And then we see them like move on from it. But like the piling on, like incident upon incident is just like, I get it. Their life sucks. It was too much.
Well, you don't have to beat us over the head with a 2x4, like.
Yeah. And like how, I mean, like we've talked about, like, how was nobody looking out for this girl or checking in?
Why didn't the sister like show up at her door? Like, I need to physically put eyes on you.
Yeah, because, and like Harissa said, I may have filled in some gaps here that weren't explicitly stated, but I think part of her was used to her husband thinking she couldn't dwell on it, and therapy was dwelling on it. 100%. He was like manipulating and abusing the crap out of her and making her feel like garbage for struggling with this. Yeah. But is he the only voice that she could hear? And maybe, but like, was there nobody else?
And you're going to feel that way when you continuously allow that to be the only voice you're hearing. There's a little ownership to it. There's a little bit of ownership of like.
And the other thing too is that that's what I was missing. I think what I was trying to say to you guys last night is that we weren't seeing the backstory between between her and her husband. What was it like at the beginning? What were they like at the beginning? Was, if he was always this way, okay, that's a thing. But was he nice? But like, what happened?
Yeah.
Because they did get married because she got pregnant.
She was pregnant, which is fine.
But I mean, why were you
in some sort of a relationship?
With how much an asshole he was, I'm sure he showed you he was an asshole before you found out you were pregnant.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like, and and then like, did she feel like she was obligated to get, because she didn't have to, she could have said no.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, so one quote is from page 5, and it's that Laura or whatever at the work party saying, "You deserve healing and you should be allowed to talk about your daughter without being shamed. Know your worth, then charge more."
Laura,
where was have you been the past 5 years or whatever? I read. Like, why are you randomly pulling me aside in the bathroom and telling me this, having a breakdown, when like, this is not her first office breakdown. This is not her first breakdown in public. Like,
I wish Laura would have been like, "You just wink 3 times if you need me to get you out of here, and I'll get you out of here." That's what she needed.
She needed a friend or somebody to not crap on her.
Because technically, I mean, she was in an abusive relationship, and why nobody stepped in? People clear. I mean, he didn't hide it. At a work function, he didn't hide it.
And yeah, I mean, she's talking about, when my own love story was broken, I turned to stories to heal the cracks of my broken heartbeats. When my world fell apart, the books still believed in happily ever afters. Books say the days I felt my soul falling victim to the hardest of storms. So I don't know what my point. I just really like that quote, but and I love, like, this had the bones of a good Brittainy C. Cherry. She writes a lot of bookish characters, which makes you empathize even more. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's like one thing that we've talked about before is like, you have favorite authors, but like everything's not going to be a win by your favorite author every time. So it just sounds like this one was kind of a miss, and hopefully she gets back to, Sarah said the next one's going to be a little bit longer. I think that's what she was missing in this. I don't know if the publisher was saying anything, which I doubt that they were. From
Probably
what I've
not.
heard from authors, like publishers don't really get into it like that.
No.
But she is known for writing thicker books, and it sounds like that's what she needs to stick with, because it sounds like when they're a little bit thicker, there's a little bit more development, a lot more backstory. And that's really what, because I mean, like I told you guys, like I hated the husband, but at the same time, I was like, I need a little bit more, because it's ingrained in us to automatically sympathize with the heroine. She's the one we're following. We know she's missing out on something. She's the one. But I was like, you know what? Like, maybe this is just his way of dealing with his guilt and like, his regrets and losing his kid. Like, maybe he turned into an asshole, but maybe he was one the whole time. We don't know, because we weren't given that much from him. So,
well, and so I highlighted on page 6, he was exhausted by me, and I couldn't blame him. I was exhausted by me too. I just wished he could see I was trying my best. I was trying my best to be normal and to be me again. And so, and like, that is something as an anxiety sufferer, I can 100% relate to. And like, that line really drew me to her, of like, girl, I get it. Like, you're trying your darndest, and darn him for not helping you. But at some point too, you've got to just step up for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I when you have anxiety or depression or whatever, like when you go out in the world, you put the mask on, like you put that mask on and you try to be normal. But if you're not getting help, like, that mask is very temporary, and it can fall off and shatter at any time. And I just wish that we would have like seen a little bit of work done on that.
Absolutely.
Because there's no arguing that being in a verbally abusive relationship like that destroys someone, and I just wish she would advocate for herself enough to get some help, or get somebody else's voice chiming in.
Yeah. Because it's got to be hard to deal with that, on top of the fact that, like, you feel like you're the reason, or you are the reason your daughter and your parents aren't here. So there's the guilt that comes along with that. But then there's this guilt because your husband is making you feel guilty for not being over it already. So it's a lot, to deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
I just wish she would have been like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Kim said, I think being verbally abused can be very debilitating. She may have felt she had no one. My husband was verbally abused, and he was definitely in control. I left in June. Good for you, Kim.
Good for you.
I mean, and I think for everybody, I think all of us can say that at some point we've experienced something like that. Like, I've definitely been in those relationships, but I had girlfriends and family that were like, just reminding you this isn't okay. If you need to hear, it's not okay. And she didn't have that. But she also, I mean, again, if we would have more backstory, did she not let her sister in? Did her sister try and she wasn't answering the phone? Like, you have family, so, but.
Well, and otherwise it's like, why even have the sister? Let's just have her up and leave. Get in the car and drive to the first town that she sees.
Yes, then where is she going to get the magical house she's going to live in that was being flipped by her? Because when I read that, I'm like, but of course they flip houses.
True. Yeah.
In this great little Stars Hollow, small town.
Yeah.
We all have a house flipper in our families.
That millionaire great uncle we've never met who's going to leave us an inn. Oh, wait, that's only a Hallmark movie.
Especially like, okay, so house flippers, unless you're like, whatever that flip or flop or whatever the HGTV show is, like, unless you're those people, like, they're probably not making oodles of money to the point that they can be like, here, just have this house. We don't need the
now we're on our honeymoon to Bora Bora. And I mean, like, reading the sister, I felt like, okay, is this a spinoff of another series? Did we meet her? And I was going to message you, Chloe, and say, what book is she in? Because that's exactly how it felt to me.
I think I could totally see that. Can we just talk about some of the cheesy lines in this book too? Like there are so many where I'm like, and you guys know me, like even just straight romance is hard for me because it feels too cheesy and too like just too much for me. And some of the lines in this book are like,
this is what I live for. This is my bread and butter is romance. And I felt that she was, and I don't mean to say this meanly, Brittainy C. Cherry was trying far too hard in this one. It was way too flowery.
Yeah.
It had me going, really?
Tragic and flowery.
You know, like.
All right, Chloe, read us the cheesy.
Well, I'm trying to navigate this, but like the whole quotes of like, whoa, let me find it. But it like, run to me, and like, what is it? If you need to run away, run to me, and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, so this guy wasn't even in your thoughts, like when you're in. But I don't know. I'm just looking at popular highlights on Kindle, and
there were
even
a majillion
the sun gets covered by clouds someday. That doesn't take away from the light it gives off. Can I tell you a secret? Anything. The day I realized it was you, it turned back on. What turned back on? My heart.
Oh, good
Stop
Lord.
It. 16-year-old me would have loved that.
You're right.
Like, Brittainy, you can do better. You've done better. Like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. You guys, like, I feel like I'm really being hard on this book, but I think part of it is because I know she can do better. And this was just not it.
Yeah. And like with Sarah, like with the conveniences, I think had we had more page, the conveniences might not have been so noticeable, but since it's so short, you're like, of course the sister flips houses and has a house to give.
Yeah, you know, like.
Yep.
And of course the sister's not going to be there. Well, all this stuff's going down. You know, like if it were me, and like my sister suddenly came out of the woodwork that I haven't spoke to in a year. Our parents are dead. My niece is dead. Clearly she's going through some shit. But oh, hold on. My honeymoon's booked. I got a jet. I'll see you later. Like I know Kennedy said to her, no, go. I don't need you. I would have been like, girl, sorry.
Like I'm here.
Yeah. You know, again, convenience.
Well, and again, like, what is the relationship there?
Well, yeah, they're half sisters, are they not?
I don't think so. I thought they were full sisters.
I don't think the dad was was the sister's dad.
His parents.
No, it was hers too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, I think one or the other. They're half sisters. Anybody in the comments, do you remember? Am I remembering this wrong? But I could have sworn that's what it said.
Kim, I liked it more had they like been closer, and maybe she just refused to like let her sister in on that. Because I'm like, you know, growing up, if you have a sister or brothers, you know, you fight and all of that. But I'm like, I talk to my sister like 5 times a day as a girl now, you know, like, and I know it's not a relationship for everybody, but it just seemed like this is the only family that we're made to believe that you have. So how do you not have?
Not even sisters. Like if I had a friend, a casual friend whose parents and daughter died by her hand, like that person's needing support, you know?
My question is, and maybe this was explained and I just skimmed over it, but like texting and driving is a thing.
It's a big thing.
They don't play with that. So how are we even reading this book? Because
how was she not charged?
Voluntary manslaughter? How
was she not charged if that's what it was? I'm being legit.
Well, I don't know because
maybe it depends on what state you're in.
Maybe, and if nobody outside of the car was harmed, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the laws around any of that.
Yeah. It's not like she lost control on a slippery road or something like that, right?
Yeah, we don't get any details. We just know that, she was texting and driving and they died. And like, did she walk away with no harm?
Yeah. And How did everybody else die but you?
Because that would mean the passenger and the back seat on both sides, they all died.
Mm-hmm.
And you were fine?
Yeah.
Kim, Connor's book is called Eastern Lights, and it just came out on the 17th. And somebody said it's another second chance, and he's literally 18. Like, second chance what? He hasn't even had a first chance. He's a baby.
Maybe he's older. Like maybe
I'm older. Maybe I hope he's older.
Yeah. Otherwise, that'll be another one that's like, really?
Yeah.
What's the last non-second chance by her that you've read?
Well, I have not read them in order. I don't think The Wreckage of Us was it? No. Yeah, maybe it was. I feel like she does do a lot of second chance, but I love that trope, so I'm not complaining.
But would you consider this one to be a second chance? Because they were just friends. This would be a more childhood sweet, wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Loving Mr. Daniels was not, but so yeah, I don't know. Second chance, yeah, is maybe a second chance to me encompasses anything that is like somebody's back in your life again. But technically, I would say it's childhood sweethearts because it's not. Yeah, you're right. They didn't. Well, although I think they did kiss when they were young.
I must have been.
I probably did. I don't.
I'm trying to pull up Eastern Lights, and I'm not seeing it. Hold on, Eastern.
Oh, you're right on time. We're just a frazzled mess, and we started early. Yep.
It's already got a 4.40 stars, so okay. Oh gosh, I'm looking at the reviews. It's got some good reviews, and then it's got some conflicting reviews. 2 year. Oh, yeah, it does sound like it's a second chance. I was set to marry his new business partner. Ooh.
Bree's like, download.
Well, I'm sure to read it.
And I'm like, I feel like I've seen this cover on somebody else's book. I think it's I think Melanie Harlow has the same cover.
I don't know, but that man is beautiful.
He is.
So I'm interested.
Break from reality, and he was a temporary fix for my broken heart. So definitely. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Harissa and Kim, what did you like about this book? You gave it 4 and 5 stars. Because I loved the barking thing. That just cracked me up. That made me laugh out loud. And I do like that shared vulnerability of them like both letting each other in. I like that in theory. I'm trying to think. Like, of course, I like just the style because no, Elizabeth, we have not talked about the beads and the drain. And
that's Elizabeth. I nearly DNF'd it at that point. I was like, yeah, no, I'm clocking out at this point.
For me, that was like not a big deal. It was funny.
But this is what surprised me about this book is that I know you, Chloe. And that was the first thing I said when we decided on this book. I'm like, is she too spicy? Because, and I'm not trying to generalize, but she writes on Kindle Unlimited, which tends to be more adult. And you're like, no. So clearly something.
But lately, so that part to me was just comical because it's older people. It's his therapist.
It was, but it was just it was an ick factor for me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, ick for sure.
One and like the reviews for the next one. I'm interested for Chloe to read it so we can hear.
Oh, goodness.
A lot of borings.
Oh goodness.
So it's like, what were you doing before that worked that you're not doing now?
Yeah. Well, and so like, hold on, back to the beads and the drain thing. I feel like that was put in there to be like some lightness and some comic relief, maybe, and to just kind of show like the stoicism of Jax and how he like doesn't get ruffled by anything. I don't know.
But I think it's hard when you try to throw something light in there and it's like, oh, now you try to give us some light.
But the other hand, the other thing that I was thinking, I was telling Garrett about it afterward and he was laughing and I said, but if you were going to be that embarrassed about it and like, oh, don't tell him what it is, even though he's going to find it when he opens up the drain, is like, okay, I understand he's the only plumber in town, but there are other towns around. You call the
Yeah.
bar from a different town.
Also, I don't think you guys probably made it there, but they have a scene in a library that I'm like, y'all, libraries are like city-owned public spots. They're not like you can rent this out to do it. Like that is not how it goes. It's like a late night. Somebody
That's
gave
not a
them the
thing.
keys to the library, and so they get it on in the library. And I'm like, you can't get the keys to the library.
No.
That's a public office. Do it somewhere else.
I'm really good friends with the mayor. I have
Really
it in.
small. It's attached to the YMCA. Like somebody would catch me.
Yeah. And like Elizabeth, I can't even fathom your face at the like when he has a dream about her and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, does it need to be this vulgar? And some people I know love that. So it's just a personal taste thing. But like for me, I was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the library scene, not realistic. And like, even as a book lover, that's not sexy. That's like illegal and gross. Yeah, they do.
Sometimes
libraries
have
do have rental spaces,
usually
but
within library hours.
yeah.
And not for that.
I'd like to rent out the children's room, please.
Gosh. Okay. So do we know what our next month pick is yet?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I got it.
You got it?
Babysitter's Haunted House.
Yay!
Babysitter's Club Super Mystery #1. I am ecstatic.
Super Mystery #1. Okay, I need to try to find that. Okay.
It is available on Kindle. I mean, you got to pay for it, but it is available on Kindle.
I'm about to download it now. Okay.
I know the Toronto Public Library, Shannon, has it.
And that checks off the boxes for March Mystery Madness
and middle grade March.
Yes.
Covering all the things.
Backlist readathon because it's a backlist title, so I can read it. Cool. And
wait, so
April,
hold on. Harissa said, I like that the relationship moved in a pretty linear way and progress was made in a good pace. And I like the message of staying next to, sticking by someone that is depressed through the storm, which is a good message of just letting people feel their emotions. I loved how he just like held her when she was breaking down and like got her out of the car. And I love that. I agree. I just had a hard time feeling the depth of their emotions when they didn't even recognize each other.
Yeah. Oh,
and no, Shannon, I don't have it out from the library yet. Have at it. I bought a copy.
Babysitter's Haunted House.
I put it. I typed it into the comments.
#1.
Yep.
Let me pull it up.
I am very excited.
And it looks like Bridget Jones isn't winning, Chloe.
No. No. Do you watch a little Writer M? Do you watch her? She is a British booktuber, and I really like her. And she really likes Bridget Jones, and I'm like, we should see if she just wants to read that because clearly nobody else does.
Little Writer,
a Little Writer M.
The paperback for this super mystery is $35. People in a robbery,
highway robbery.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna look on eBay because I want a copy of it since it's like
it's adorable. I don't know what I can't remember what pictures it has in it. Because it always does that in this, Chloe, it always does that in those super specials. Like it's got some sort of pictures or something. Just makes it extra fun. I might try and hunt down my own copy at some point.
Yeah, I want a copy of it.
Yeah. Shoot, I was going to say something else. Oh, I was going to check for April, but just like always, we will about a week or 10 days out, we'll put the pictures on Instagram so you can vote there. If you want to vote early, go to Goodreads. It is on Goodreads. Yeah. Hold on.
Oh my, Long Shot is another tough one.
I had that one to read this month, but I didn't get to it, to be honest.
It's good, but it's one of those like I had to read it in one sitting because if I put it down, I was not going to finish it because it's rough. Babysitter's Haunted House. Okay.
I just found it on Amazon as a secondary, like on the marketplace, $18.61 with free shipping. Used, very good condition. For that price, it damn well better be. See, I knew Chloe would have a copy of it.
So yeah.
Hey, what's the Haunted Mansion? That's not the same one. Let me see.
No, Haunted Mansion is the second book. It's Haunted House is the first book, right?
Dang, even on eBay, it's $16.90.
And see, you guys, like I would say if you can get it physically, do it, but it's so expensive, maybe not. But like they've got the different babysitters, Karen.
Each one tells a different chapter.
Well, and each one has a different font.
I always love that in the series.
I love it.
It's crazy. The Haunted Mansion is like $4, but this one is like $16.
You go ahead and read that one, Bree. The rest of us are going to read this one. We'll see how that goes.
I'm download it on Kindle.
You guys, this reminds me of childhood so much.
Doesn't
this big font, and I just love. I told Sarah and Bree that, and I think I even said it in a vlog. Like, if this one that I was going to try to read up to this point in the series. It's like 100 books in, you guys. So
no,
don't worry about reading up to it. You'll be okay. I promise.
Yeah, I'm up to book number 52 in the series, and I think that book is still 60 books ahead of where I am right now.
Because it's like right around the time that book 86 was published, but that doesn't count any of the like normal mysteries or any of the other super specials.
Yep.
Yeah.
$49.99 on thriftbooks.com.
How much?
Right on that.
$49.99 for that one.
Well, you know, this is 263 pages. It's a big guy. But you guys, can we get the dolls?
I had them.
You did?
That's how old I am.
I think I actually have one of them. I don't know who.
I also
Mallory looks cute. She looks like not a golden girl, but designing women. She looks like a designing woman. So does Marianne, truthfully. They all look like they belong on Deciding Women or Designing Women Junior.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what we should do, you guys? Is like a watch along of the series. Do you guys know how to do that?
Oh, like, on Netflix.
How about for our mid-March, instead of doing a chat, we watch the first episode or something.
Or we could watch the original movie.
True, except I don't have
on
the
Netflix
for a movie.
Okay.
Kim, I've never read them either. That's why I'm excited to read this one. Kim says she's never read them.
I don't think I've ever read this one.
I've read all of them at least once.
All like 200.
I was reading them on the fly. Yeah, I was reading them on the sly in high school because I was already at a certain age by the time the series ended. So I remember like getting home from school, like I was in grade 10 or 11 and being like, all right. But I was determined to finish them. I had both board games growing up. I had the dolls. I had the video game.
You're a true fangirl.
I was big time.
I've thought about it, and like I've started a couple times going to reread them all, but then I'm like, well, I have 2 daughters who soon enough I think will want to read them, so I'll just wait and try to do it with them.
Yeah, that's smart. I can't wait to hear you.
I don't have that
option. Yeah, they weren't very often at the library here either.
Mm-mm.
I think I discovered them because I had an older sister. Because I don't know, when were they first original? Well, like this one was like 94 or 95, and this is 100 and some odd books in. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I had we had this little bookstore in the mall that, like, you know, before we had all the big bookstores, like the little independent guys, and he knew me by name, and he would order me a copy of whatever next books, and he would call the house to tell me it was in. That's how big it was for me.
That's so sweet.
The like normal books are on Thrift Books usually for like $3.99.
Yeah.
What's up with this? Mystery?
Huh?
Like, why do you think this one's so expensive?
Yeah, because these spinoffs are a little more rare and harder to find. I think they're probably less printed.
Because they're a little bit different than the originals, right?
I
They're
ordered
thicker.
a physical copy.
Huh?
You did?
$18. I just bought it.
Good girl.
There's nothing to me like maybe I should do this now because I'm feeling so funky. Let's come up with all the F words for February. But
I got one, but
feel
I don't know
should
if I want to say
read
it.
this or read something. Yeah, first in a series is also kind of harder
Usually
to
hard
find.
to find, yeah.
I'm excited, you guys.
Yeah.
Me too. But you're right. There's something about having that original edition, you know, like to read physically.
Have you read the 0.5? The summer it all began.
I couldn't go back. It was going to ruin it for me. And I'm like,
Oh,
no, I don't
really?
want it ruined for me. Yeah, no.
I liked it, but it pisses me off quite a lot that it is like a modern cover. Like, hold on. I keep turning off my camera because y'all don't need to see this situation, but hold on. I'll be right back.
This situation.
Knowing it's not even a mess, but whatever.
Right? It's probably
What are
pristine.
you reading right now?
Hmm?
What are you reading right now?
Giant Days number 8. I need to read something because, like I think I said to you last night, I have not finished a book this week. Not one.
Read the 80s babies novellas.
Yeah, I should have done that. Oh, well. I'm going to finish this one first. But I should read one. I should read the first one of those. Those covers are just so delightful.
They're so cute, and they all have like 80s song titles.
I love it.
Okay. What the F is this?
What?
Wow.
What the F
That's
is it?
horrible.
It looks very 2000, like now trying to be 80s. That's what it looks like.
Cover illustrations by Melvin Evans.
Oh, Melvin, sorry, you did us wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
I found a year or so ago, I was looking up something, and the artist who did all the original covers of the Babysitters Club, I found him on Instagram. He's selling them, the original prints of
Wow.
like, and I'm like, dude, I don't need one, but I need one.
You should get. How much are they?
They were a couple hundred, I think, at least,
Okay.
depending on what book. Yeah, like and there was only like one of each. Like he didn't do multiples, right? So like some of them are already gone, and the ones I would have really wanted are already gone. Like there were some covers that were iconic to me. So
yeah.
Guys, now I want to read them.
They're so good. They're so good. And I can't wait to know, is it just the nostalgia? Like I can guarantee me and Sarah are going to at least 3 or 4 star it. I mean, we're going to enjoy it. I'm interested if the nostalgia. And Sarah said she was going through my Goodreads and saw that I 5-starred all of them. And
yeah,
you're right. That's because I did that at that time. It was.
I think that's adorable, though.
It was probably like 16-year-old Chloe being like, "Yeah, that shit was awesome."
So, should we watch some of the show in March?
Yeah.
You want to watch?
Do we know how to do that? You guys
find out,
comments.
sure.
You guys in the comments, tell us, would you rather just hear us chat? We don't have an author scheduled. Would you rather just hear us chat for a while, or would you rather watch the show with our running commentary?
Yeah, we can do a couple episodes. You know, I mean, it is 10 long.
How long are they? Like an hour? Or
20 to 30 minutes a piece.
Oh, that's
yeah.
I marathon the entire thing in a day. So
I remember I was so like, I'm sitting here covered in yuck and like dealing with screaming. And I was like, Sarah's on her couch watching 5 hours of Babysitter's Club. I just want to be with Sarah. Help me channel my inner Sarah.
Did you watch the original? Did you watch the show, Chloe? The show that was out before the movie?
No, I watched the movie.
Okay.
I watched the movie and that was it.
There was like a 10-episode show. I don't even remember what it was on, but I had them on VHS. And they were okay. They weren't taken off the books. They were like based on, do you know what I mean? Whereas this TV show, the Netflix adaptation, is literally based off the first 8 books. No, 8 books and then the first super special.
Yeah.
And I gave my niece a copy because I had a copy of the second super special, and I gave it to her, and she was just thrilled. This is what it is. And I said, yes.
That's awesome.
I think a watch along would be really fun, especially I think for a lot of people, the nostalgic factor of how well they did it, and they modernized it, but how well they modernized it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm always fussing to Sincere, like, I wish they'd stop remaking stuff. Like, let it just be a classic. And he's like, there's always going to be somebody that finds it nostalgic, and then just modernize it, and kids today can watch it and enjoy it. And I'm like, you're right.
Like for me, I mean, my children are so young that I don't know, but based on their personalities today, Ainsley, my 3-year-old, is a reader. I have a feeling she will go through the whole series with me, probably when she's like 5. She'll go through it. Annie cannot sit still for even a board book right now. And so I'm like, she'll like the graphic novels, maybe. She'll, she'll like, I do like that it feels like a money grab, but I do like that they're kind of making something for everybody.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah. But this is a money grab that needed not to happen.
No, and the cover that I've seen is different than that.
I think this is the UK cover.
Oh, okay.
And this has got like matching of the first 4.
Oh.
But
okay. Here's instructions on how to do a Netflix watch party.
Okay.
So it can be done. Okay.
Okay.
We'll play along and we'll play around and figure it out.
Yeah, y'all watch for time changes. We probably won't veer too far away from either 1 or 2 p.m. Central. But we might be flipping around a little bit. Just it's kind of going to be as the days go. So I hope this worked for you guys, and just keep your eyes out for exactly what time. But 2nd and 4th Saturday afternoons will be here.
Yep.
Whatever that means for you.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Again, we kind of suck at picking, so this better be good.
No,
darn it.
No, I mean, last month's wasn't bad.
Yeah.
What was last month? Oh, the baby one.
That one was cute. We all gave that one 4 stars. So, but I think this was also partly the month's fault and not the pick's fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was kind of the pick's fault too.
Yeah.
But we did get to interview Brittainy Cherry, which was super awesome. So something good came out of it.
And I still think she's great. So if this was your first time and you don't like it, dig into her backlist a little bit. Go to Behind the Bars or something like that. Although that is still very emotional. So be ready for that. But, and if you loved this, like I think it was Harissa that said she gave it 5 stars, and then Eleanor and Gray was only 4 stars. And so it may be just a difference in, like, she may just be maturing, and it may be publisher thing, or it may not be. I don't know.
Yeah. So everybody that read this and loved it, I really want to know what you think of the next book.
Absolutely.
Yes. And let me know.
And like, I think I would have liked this better if we didn't talk about it. Because like Sarah, and especially knowing why you DNF'd it, and like all of your reasons are very valid. They got me like, you're right. That sucks. Just like sometimes having conversations about a book, it's like I was so in my fangirl haze that I'm like, I can forgive that. I can forgive that. And I'm like, wait,
don't tell me any different.
Right. Although, I mean, not really yet. Like,
no, but I know what you mean.
Like the things that I was like, do I like this? Do I not? Then talking to you, I'm like, no, that's not okay. P.S. The reason I said you guys don't want to see this is because my daughter told me I look like a tree today because I'm wearing like taupe brown sweatpants and a green sweatshirt, and she was like, Mom,
you look like a tree.
Is it spring yet?
Congratulations, Chloe. You're embarrassing your children, and she's only 3. Good job.
No, she was not embarrassed. She was like very intrigued. Like, you look like a spring tree. Is it spring? And yeah, she put on a spring dress, and she's but it's almost 60 degrees here, you guys.
It's nice out today.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Everybody, Shannon, Kim, Elizabeth,
thank you everybody so much for joining us.
Antonella, hi. I'm sorry. You must have been ready for the 2:00 because it's the middle of the damn night there. And We switched it
Our
up
ride
on
or die,
Reddit, but
Vanilla. She's our ride or die.
she is our ride or die. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
All
thank
right,
you,
well-
ladies, for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next time.
Here's to a better March for everybody.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
And happy early birthday, Sarah. We love you.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday early. Her birthday's
Like,
Friday.
live show.
Yeah, everybody spam Sarah on Friday. Friday is her birthday, in case you didn't know.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.